Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good day, good evening, hello, and welcome to everyone across the world. Thank you so much for joining us here at USA Global TV and Radio as we get ready to close out our second year of broadcasting. So we are truly grateful for all of your support as we quickly approach 1 million views for this year alone. So thank you again. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is the United Kingdom news and culture and updates on the royal family, episode 97. So we are joined today by our elite group of panelists. We're going to have a lot of news and information and some fun laughs as well. Joining us is the star of our show, DIANN BOEHM, who is consistently putting out award-winning books. Let's bring her out and find out what she's up to. Hello, DIANN.
Hi, Dr. Jacalyn. Thank you for the lovely introduction. What am I up to? I guess writing and working on getting my vocal cords back so I can have a pretty voice.
Oh, that's beautiful, DIANN. You already have a gorgeous voice, and I know you're doing a lot of baking and creative work for the holidays. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Of course, I love the holidays, and baking such a good excuse to throw the diet out the door. So I've been making lots of breads and, sugar cookies and decorating them. Just everybody has the same traditions in many ways. So having fun with that and getting ready to make that drive to Virginia to celebrate Christmas with my kiddos on the East Coast. Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn.
Thank you. It sounds like a fun time. And yes, we do love our bakery items. And then, of course, the more we eat, the bigger the waistline goes. So let's not even go there. Let's bring out our expert correspondents who have decades of experience between themselves reporting on news all over the world. Let's welcome the beautiful, the vivacious. You thought I was going to say HELENA Shar, but no, it's Simon MacDonald. There he is. Hello.
Oh, I'm beautiful and vivacious. Oh, well, here we go. Yes, people will start worrying about me.
If the shoe fits, wear it.
Dan, I have a lovely, lovely tip on the foodie side for you for the festive season, and you're just in time now to get it ready for the big day, and that is glassy cherries. These lovely sweet, sickly cocktail cherries you have in drinks. With those, get a jar of those and cover them in the Worcester sauce. Leave it for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, just agitating the jar every so often. After 2 or 3 weeks, you bring the cherry out, you wrap a little bit of prosciutto or Parma ham or Serrano ham around it on a stick and just warm it through under the grill. It is so delicious as a canopy. It is unbeatable.
Wow, that sounds amazing. You have to start early, a few weeks early, but we'll get back to that. Let's welcome the absolutely stunning and beautiful HELENA Shar. Welcome to the program.
Hey, so lovely to see you, Dr. Jacalyn, DIANN, Simon. HELENA here from London in the UK. So I'm so happy. Thank you. That was funny when you introduced Simon. I got myself ready. I was like, yeah! And then the beautiful Simon popped up.
That's it. I mean, at least I'm vivacious,
Yeah, definitely.
You are. Woo.
We always always have so much fun on this show. And you also bring
Oh.
so much incredible news, and you fill us in on what's going over there in the United Kingdom. So thank you so much for doing that. As you know, I've mentioned, I noticed that some of our major news outlets that are in print, for example, that the royal family is consistently being featured. And there's certain websites that I go to every day a few times, and the royals are always in there, some kind of gossip or story. So we do seem to have a fixation on the royal family here in the United States. So we're glad that you keep us on our toes here.
That's so interesting. It'd be interesting to know the stance, not at this moment, but the stance that's taken. Hopefully, there's some good things. I think people, especially media, is getting a bit carried away with itself. And I have to say, I don't think I would ever want to be a royal, put it that way. But you know, speaking about all the good that they do and factual, you know, authentic news, it is great. But it's so funny to hear things going around. It's almost like rumours and you know, there is good within it. So I think if you are a royal, I think you carry on, as they say, you carry on working and just get on with it. But it is interesting, isn't it? Definitely.
It is definitely, once you're in the public eye, people just love to chat. They just love to say whatever it is they become fixated on. So you're here to keep us straight. So thank you for that. So I know Helena and Simon, you both are going to be reporting on different aspects. Let's start out with Helena to tell us what's the latest and greatest going on with the news.
Thank you. So I'm going to steer away from the political nonsense that is going on here in the UK. Goodness me, I don't know. It's just who wants to be in politics at this moment? It's not good. So interestingly, and it always happens on a Wednesday, funnily enough. So Fox News have been in touch again, and they wanted my thoughts on the Crown. So we're in season 6. The final 6 episodes of The Crown drop tomorrow. I think it's 3 a.m. Eastern time. That's your time, isn't it? And it's 8 a.m. UK time. So I have to watch that so that I can report back. But yeah, I sent something off just before the show, so hopefully that will be used. But it's I've been so put off, and I've been very honest about it. I found the last few episodes quite dark. You know, and really hard to watch, and I think it's unfair on the royal family. But moving on, I do hope there is going to be some light and some interest and some entertainment, hopefully. I do know that Kate and Prince William are featured quite heavily in the premiere, which is the first episode tomorrow. So that will be interesting. I'm hoping that it will be riveting. There'll be things that we know about that are fact. You know, there's the charity fashion show where William decided that, you know, he thought, goodness me, I really like this Kate, and I, you know, everyone loves a love story, and I'm hoping that there'll be some really great cinematography and, you know, nice things which don't make you feel uncomfortable. Everyone likes to watch things which are fun. And I really hope as well that Kate's superpower, which is she's really quite strong, courageous, and I hope that comes through as well. I really, really do. So that's tomorrow. So everyone should be watching it. I'm going to sort of have a few elements of royal with a few other little bits and pieces as well. So that's bringing in the Crown. But we spoke about the film Wonka that is out at the moment. I love things like that. I really do. I think it's my childish side, my childlike side. Creativity and curiosity, I think, is something that springs to mind. But what I found interesting reading about a wonderful lady called Jen Lindsay Clark, I think her name is, yeah. And she is a chocolatier, but she's a sculptress. And she has made, and this is actually for the launch, which I think was on Friday, a life-size sculpture of Timothy Chalamet. So it's a huge sculpture. I mean, 6'2". There it is. That's just a little bit of it, but 6'2". It took, you know, roughly 6 weeks to craft, and it's just she loves the programme. She loves it from the olden days, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Excited to have been commissioned to do this. I think there's a lovely story behind it, and it's all about creativity. And she, when she was 3 years old, she used to make mud pies, and she used to make them as you know, as real as possible, because she hoped her family would eat them. So it was that curiosity, creativity, and from there she went from muds to chocolate, and now she does a huge amount. She's made quite a few sculptures, and I think one of the other sculptures that I remember is King Charles. And this was for his coronation. It's like a bustier. Great light, and that's her as well. So that's a wonderful gem. And she used lots of tiny little chocolates as well to sort of to prettify the bust there. And I just think it's really beautiful. And I think, goodness, you know, it's that whole thing. If you think about, as we mentioned last week, Wonka, the whole idea of holding on to your imagination, having that dream, and really running with it, really, you know, going and not giving up. Believe in everything that you want to move forward with. Anyway, so she envelopes that. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was her favourite programme, favourite film, and now she's going on. She's this amazing chocolatier. I just think, can you imagine making something that's 6'2" and so heavy? I just think that's just incredible.
And
really,
the detail
really
work
incredible.
the detail work's incredible. Look at this. I mean, it's amazing.
It's just, that's, yeah, and that's just, again, a lot of the time you light it.
Simon, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
Okay,
you. Yes,
perfect.
I can't hear Helen, though.
I feel like I went into a time zone.
There we go.
Or like, Helena, welcome back. Hello.
Hey, I think I'm maybe going through my computer rather than my pods. But anyway, as long as you can hear me, that's what matters. And moving on to King Charles, having seen that wonderful sculpture. So King Charles, he requested, I think it's quite funny, he requested that all the old curtains in Windsor and also Buckingham Palace that had been put into storage, which you can imagine is a huge amount of material, he requested that they be upcycled. And this is via the King's Foundation. Be upcycled, made into kimonos, beautiful kimonos, and be auctioned off. Now, this is what is happening at the moment. I have to say, having seen the kimonos, I can't imagine what their curtains must have looked like. I didn't see them looking like this. I really didn't. And I cannot imagine having curtains like that, but I guess that's fun. As in, I can't imagine it in Buckpal and also Windsor. But anyway, so there's lots of these kimonos. They've been auctioned, and I think good for King Charles. You know, there's a wonderful, isn't it a great feeling? I mean, it's very much him, isn't it? But I think also we can take, all of us, lead and upcycle everything, even if it's giving it away. There's so much that can be done. It made me think about all the clothes that I have stuffed in my wardrobe that I'm gradually going through, which I find exciting. Seeing all these things that I no longer fit, but that's one of those things. And also moving on as well, King Charles. I mean, there's so many things that are being auctioned at the moment. And I always have this thing, I find it really exciting, but I also really hope that people actually purchase them at these humongous prices, but actually use them for something that will, you know, help. I don't know whether it be a museum or actually use them rather than putting it away. We can always just get things and hoard things and put them away. But I think if they're fascinating things, unusual things, they should be for everyone to see. This one is slightly spooky for me, actually, this one. But interesting in that the royal hairdresser, this was from some time ago, I think actually in 1971, he was thanked by the late Majesty Elizabeth II. Goodness, I can't even believe she's gone, for his service. But so it's a lock of King Charles, Prince Charles hair. So it's a little lock of hair. There we go. This is when he was at Gordonstone. He was at Gordonstone, and it's a little snip of hair that he was given authorization to keep, plus barber's scissors, etc., being auctioned by Paul Fraser Collectibles. So George Crisp, I think his name is, he had a salon in Trumpers, which was the name of his salon in Mayfair. Now, if you know London, Mayfair is just a quick trot down to Buckingham Palace. So he used to just shut up shop, I have the trot down to the palace, and he would obviously cut hair, etc. And I think he actually he used to cut George VI's beard, which is late Queen Elizabeth II's father. Well, he died sadly in 1952, but Queen Elizabeth decided to keep him on, and for years and years he used to just cut everyone's hair, which is I think it's just lovely. But it's sort of a bit spooky, isn't it, buying someone's hair? I mean, I just wonder, could you do something with it? Could we recreate other little prince?
Yes, from the hair. Yes, from the hair you can have the DNA. That's done all the time.
So maybe that's. I can't imagine. Surely not. I don't know enough about it, but that sort of that spooks me out even more now when I think about it. It's not something I'd want to buy, but I get it for history's sake, and of course, in a museum or something like that, that's quite interesting. It's funny, isn't it, having that dark hair, knowing that he's grey now.
Yeah,
he's at Gordonstone.
Yes,
and his thick hair as a young man. Oh,
very thick hair.
I'd love to have the hair on here. Wouldn't that look kind of cool?
Yeah, I'd like to eat it. Actually, I thought I would. Oh goodness. Anyway, so that's King Charles. I mean, there's so much with King Charles, but I'm going to move on to something more serious, in fact, which is in fact lovely. And I know we have a little video, but I think just to say a little bit about this, I think the Princess of Wales has taken a little bit of a unfair battering recently, as in not physical. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah, you can. Great. It's my earbuds are doing something strange. So the Princess of Wales, in her full glory, has been out and about and doing a huge amount of work recently, and she's just launched the Christmas Baby Banks initiative, and this. It's a certain one that she attended recently, which is the Baby Bank in Maidenhead, which is near Windsor, near to where they stay. And she took her 3 children, so George, Charlotte, and Louis, to volunteer to volunteer. And the lovely thing about it is not only does it instill the idea of volunteering to the children, they absolutely loved it. George really took on board how helpful it is to volunteer, but also that he really enjoyed it. So he's going to be going back to the baby banks, which is great. They were very engaged and enthusiastic. And it reminded me of, if anyone has seen it, the late Princess Diana took her sons, Prince William, Prince Harry, to the homeless shelters when they were a lot younger, and it wasn't for filming's sake. It wasn't for any PR stunt. It was because she wanted them to see normality and to be able to have empathy, develop empathy, and help people in need. So she used to pop in to these homeless shelters. Hence the reason Prince William now also is patron of a few homeless charities. But we have this lovely little clip, and I think it's lovely to show everything going on in the world. If we all did things like volunteering, and I know a lot of us do that anyway, but if every one of us did something to help, something to give back, just us as really everyday people could make huge, huge change. So it would be good to, oh, there's my cat. It would be good to play it, actually. So if we can watch this has been going, the baby banks have been going for 5 years. People donate, people give whatever they can, and these packages are given out to people in need. There's a lot of, I think, a quarter of people with even one child under 5 are in poverty. And if you can help carers, help parents in need, obviously it helps the children. And this is all about the Princess of Wales Shaping Us symposium that she's working on. This is her charitable big thing that she's doing, which is doing such a huge amount of good. So I think let's play it if we can, Dr. Jacalyn.
Yes. Come and see what we do. Here, there's lots of people who give up their time, and there are lots of volunteers who come and help out. And so you're the volunteers for this evening. Right, you ready?
What we would like you to do is try and choose some presents for some children who are similar age to you guys. So if you think about what you would like to play with.
Yeah, this is a big gun.
Who's this for?
This is our 5th year of doing it. 1,500 of these gift bags.
Yeah, pop that in. Right, I think you're done. All these bags are donations, and then we have to then go and sort them and put them in all the boxes. Let's see. Do you like that one?
Yeah.
Shall I go through each one?
This is Welsh.
George wants to come back, so that's good. You can see how rewarding that sort of work is, isn't it? Knowing that you're helping out others.
Wow.
And that's such a lovely shot video, isn't it?
Yes,
Absolutely.
It was shot by a talented young man called Will War. Obviously, this has actually gone viral, the video, and I think it's such a lovely. Yes, it shows obviously the royal family, but I think it's lovely to see that whole family love and what they're doing and how enthusiastic the children are. I just think it's really lovely. What does everyone think?
I loved it. I loved how the kids got to pick out for their age what do you like, so that someone else will enjoy it too.
Wasn't it good? It was so lovely. And as usual, Prince Louis sort of looked like he was in a toy shop, didn't he? He picked up the gorilla and.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to take that one away with him there.
One for the road. Diane, have you moved to the closet now?
No, I don't know why it did that.
Oh, we've lost you. Oh,
Yes.
But anyway, I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's gone viral, and and it shows the power of volunteering. They've been so busy. Actually, the Princess and Wales and the family have been incredibly busy. And one thing I am actually really looking forward to, we have the carol service. It's the Princess of Wales. She has a carol service at Westminster Abbey. It's the 3rd year. It took place on Friday, and it's going to be televised on Christmas Eve for everyone to see. But from what I've seen, and I've seen snippets, it's absolutely beautiful. And again, this is thanking all of those that support babies and young children and families. They were invited as people from certain charities, and some great performers, and it's absolutely beautiful. Obviously, children are there, so everyone should tune in, and that's on Christmas Eve. I haven't got the exact time, but I'd imagine it would be after the King's speech. I don't know. I think we need to look that one up. But anyway, that's something to work on. And I think finally, I want to say as well, we have some wonderful actors, actresses, wonderful people in general all over the world, but talking about the UK at the moment, a lovely lady called Vicky McClure. Now, Vicky McClure is a well-known actress here. I really think of her as the darling of the UK. She's a very, very talented actress. One of the most recent roles, I think she starred in The Line of Duty, which is a well-known series over here. But she has recently, and congratulations, Vicky McClure, on this as well, has recently received an MBE in Windsor from King Charles. And that's for all her work, and she tirelessly works, as well as doing her filming, breaking barriers with her charity work around dementia. And she's formed the Dementia Choir, which was in 2019. Which, here in the UK, we have programs on it, and it's so moving. It's absolutely wonderful. She is such a lovely, warm person. And this Dementia Choir, there's lots of people. It's formed totally from people with dementia. So talented, such lovely singers, and she has really, I think, made people understand. She chats to people with dementia. You unfortunately do see downsides as well, as you see deterioration in people, but it's for the families as well of people with dementia, and they travel around the UK to different venues. They've actually even performed at the O2, which is a big arena here in the UK, and she is fabulous, and she's continuing this. I think she lost her grandmother to dementia, but she actually has dementia on both sides of her family, and raising money and pushing this choir to do good is a big passion of hers. So yeah, absolutely fabulous. Congratulations, Vicky McClure. And that's me for today. In fact, I think we have a picture. Yes, thank you. Oh, there she is, the lovely Vicky McClure. There she is with her OBE and King Charles. Really heartwarming. See, that's what we want to hear. We want to hear the nice things. We don't want sugar-coated things, but certain political nonsense with people trying to be more worried about their personal seats than actually what's going on in the world. There's so many people doing good, and it's just so important for us all to talk about it. It's it gives hope, doesn't it? And inspiration.
It sure does.
Absolutely. That's a great way to leave us on a light note. Thank you, Helena.
You're more than welcome.
I'm wondering about the chocolate. How do they keep it from melting? I mean, there must be certain, I'm sure it's shipped in a refrigerated something.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I think
they start with apologies. So I think they start with they make a frame out of normal material, clay or something to begin with, to give the shape. But then they make it's still got to be very thick, and they'll take that out. But you're right, it has to be kept at a certain temperature. And looking at the one of Willy Wonka, I mean, that was sort of put on a plinth in Trafalgar Square. I mean, I know it's cold here in the UK, but hey,
yeah,
it has to be super cold to stay like that.
Absolutely,
she's so clever. Oh, I just
really cute.
Isn't creativity such fun? Don't you just take inspiration from people that are creative? Oh, I just love it.
I do too.
It means so much.
Simon, what were you going to say about how to keep the chocolate cold?
Yeah, I should have absolutely no problem whatsoever in Scotland now.
And I was going to say, I made mud pies when I was little, but my imagination never took me that far.
I know, I did too.
Yeah, I just make chocolate chip cookies, and it's so funny. First, I put them in a bag in the refrigerator, and I'll say, "Yeah, I'm not going to eat them because they're chilly." Then I take them out, I put them in the freezer, and then I try not to break my teeth as I'm eating them. Like, why did you put them in the freezer? You're going to eat them anyway. Then I'm like, "Why are you cooking anything? Stop it! Stop! So anyway, sorry.
Oh, well, did anyone make things when they were younger that they thought that maybe they'd? I used to make perfume out of rose petals and things like that. Well, I thought I was making perfume from a very young age, and I used to keep it bottled and smell it every day, and it just, you know, I didn't do it the right way. But you know, my heart and creativity was in it.
Do you wear perfume now, Helena?
I do. I like perfume.
I do too. I love it.
I really enjoy it. I don't wear every perfume. I just have a couple of smells that I've loved for years.
Same here.
That's what I wear. It sort of becomes you, doesn't it? If I don't have my perfume, I run out. It's like me with jewelry. Not that I wear loads, but I suddenly think, oh my gosh, I've left my arm, you know, almost.
You and I are twins, Helena.
If I don't have my perfume on, I don't feel that I'm dressed. Even for this show, I'm in here all by myself.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, I need my perfume.
Same here. Yeah. I'll put it on before I go to sleep so the pillow smells nice. You know, I don't care. It's crazy. But you know what's interesting, though, just a quick digression about that, and then we'll go over to Simon, is that I found in a number of places, like exercise-wise, that it can be offensive to people, because if you're working out and then your pores are open, then, you know, you can smell other people, and it's like an entire room of people with different perfume on. It's kind of crazy. But anyway, I just become immune to it because it is part of who I am. Simon, what about you? Are you wearing cologne?
No. Odor dog probably today.
Okay. So you're not a cologne wearer, though. You call it cologne or perfume?
Yeah. No, I do occasionally. You know, I do occasionally if I'm going out, you know, for dinner or anything like that. Then yes, I do have my favorite one, which I will put on.
Very
but
nice.
Harping back to what Helena was saying there about not wanting to be a royal, I certainly wouldn't want to be king, because I'm quite an ambitious person, and you know, once you're king, there's absolutely no chance of promotion. So
very true. Yeah. And, you know, I also wanted to say, Helena, when you were talking initially about The Crown, when I first started watching season 6, I was watching it as though, okay, this is a true story unfolding. And then by the end of the first episode, I'm like, this is just a television series. I'm just going to pretend I'm watching a series and these people are acting in it, and it's not necessarily true.
Well, the thing is about it is, and that's where there was a lot of concern, is that The Crown isn't true in a sense, but a lot of it is fact. And that's why there's been upset on the way where they were told they need to put a disclaimer on it, because people will begin to get really upset about certain small things that they put into sensationalize because it is a drama. But they'd add to it if it was a little bit boring, you know, and they'd want to make it. But it's not all real, and that's the upset as well when we're talking about, especially now when it's recent times. You know, when it was sort of, you know, let's just going back years and years, and old school people, you know, maybe have passed more in the past. It's quite interesting because that's the history and history of the UK, etc. And so everyone that is really gripped, and some of it was very clever the way they did it. The minute you come to more current times, you know, and you've got people, these are people's lives. So then the drama and the incorrect, well, I say incorrect, but they just dramatize it, don't they? Bits and sensationalize, people believe, and some of the horrible bits it doesn't quite work. But you know, I'm fingers crossed there'll be some light create, you know, like fun times in the up and coming series. But I mean, people have to realize it's Netflix just want to make money, right. And what they've done is they've used the royal family to create these wonderful things, which you know, and it's good to be able to do that. It's just having that happy medium. There's a few things that they've done, Netflix, which you just wonder why they've done it. I won't go into it now because we don't have the time. But on the whole, and they say that season 6 is going to be the end, but I have a feeling. I have a feeling season 6 will finish, and funnily enough, we will hear that there'll be more, because there's always going to be stories. I mean, look what's going on now. I mean, you know, this nonsense with I won't even mention people's names, but there's always going to be something to make stories from.
You can put the names in the chat if you want, and then we'll put them on. I'm kidding.
No,
Okay,
no,
yeah,
let's not.
I agree
I
with you.
can't. It's so interesting because it's still, you know, all the broadcast platforms that are speaking, they're coming to me and they want to know my thoughts, or have I this, have I heard, have I spoken to about such and such. I think, really, surely people are just bored now. You know, really, we just want to move on, and we want, well, we want harmony, and let's all do good, which is really what the royal family want that too. It's so important. But anyway, there we are.
Thank you, and it's certainly a great time of year to volunteer and help other people, because there are a lot of people who are not celebrating, who need something to look forward to. Even writing a card and delivering it to someone maybe in a retirement community or somewhere where they don't have people visiting them really makes a difference. So thank you all for everything so far. And Simon, I'm going to turn over to you. I know you have a 2-part series, and today you're going to start on the first part, which could end up being a 2-part of the first part. I don't know. Let's see where it goes.
Oh, well, right. Yes, here we go. That I'm sort of sailing a bit close to the wind today, what was talked about earlier about the political stramash that's going on in the country. But I managed to skirt around that a little bit anyway, because the piece I'm doing over the next 2 weeks is about the Palace of Westminster. So I've come back to this side of the Atlantic this time. We've covered the Pentagon, we've covered the White House, so we've done the American side, now we're going to the UK. And I shall try and avoid the politicism of it all. So the Palace of Westminster, it's the meeting place of Parliament of the United Kingdom. It's commonly called the Houses of Parliament, after the House of Commons and the House of Lords, which are the two legislative chambers which occupy the building Westminster, which has become the metonym for the UK Parliament and commemorates the name of the palace. The Elizabeth Tower, which is nicknamed Big Ben, is of course a landmark of London and the United Kingdom in general, and probably one of the most iconic towers that in the world. The building itself, the Westminster Palace, was originally constructed in the 11th century as a royal palace and was the primary residence of the kings of England until 1512, when a fire destroyed the royal apartments. And the monarch moved then on to the adjacent Palace of Whitehall. But the remainder of the palace continued to serve as the home of Parliament of England, which had met there since the 13th century. So in 1834, a second larger fire destroyed the majority of the palace, but Westminster Hall was saved and incorporated into the replacement palace. The competition to design the new palace was won by the architect Charles Barry, who chose a Gothic revival style for the building, and construction started in 1840, lasted for 30 years, suffering the usual delays of cost overruns, and then, of course, the death of Barry and his assistant Augustus Pugin. The palace contains the chambers of the House of Commons and the House of Lords. It's got a floor area of 1,210,680 square feet, so it's pretty big. The site of the current palace may have been used by King Canute during his reign from 1016 to 1035, and from around 1045 to 1050, Edward the Confessor built a palace and the first Westminster Abbey, which now the oldest surviving part of the palace, of course, is Westminster Hall, which dates from the reign of William II, who reigned from 1087 to 1100. Then 1512, during the early reigns of Henry VIII, fire destroyed the royal apartments of the palace. And then in 1534, Henry moved to the neighbouring Palace of Whitehall. The predecessor of Parliament, the Curia Regis, or Regis, met in Westminster Hall when the king was in residence. The model Parliament, considered the first Parliament of England, met at the palace in 1295. The palace did not have dedicated chambers for the House of Commons or the House of Lords. The Commons adapted St. Stephen's Chapel for its use in the 16th century, and the Lords used the painted chamber, and from 1801 used the white chamber. Couldn't afford the paint. Well, the palace underwent significant alterations from the 18th century onwards, as Parliament struggled to carry out its business in the limited available space. These included new official residence for the Speaker of the House of Commons, which was completed in 1795, and significant alterations on the new building by James Wyatt, completed in 1801. The last alterations were undertaken by Sir John Soane between 1824 and 1827 and included new library facilities for both Houses of Parliament. So on the 16th of October 1834, a fire broke out in the palace. There's an awful lot of fires there. There we are, cold country. And it broke out in the palace after an overheated stove set fire to the House of Lords chamber. Both Houses of Parliament were then destroyed, along with most of the other buildings in the palace complex. Westminster Hall was saved again, thanks to firefighting efforts and the change of direction of wind. William IV offered the most completed Buckingham Palace, William IV offered the almost complete Buckingham Palace to Parliament, hoping to dispose of a residence he actually disliked. So, however, the building was considered unsuitable and the gift was rejected. 1835, following that year's general election, the King permitted Parliament to make plans for its permanent accommodation. And each house created a committee, and perpendicular Gothic revival style of design was chosen by architect Charles Barry. The Lords Chamber was completed in 1847 and the House of Commons Chamber in 1852. During the Second World War, the palace was hit by bombs on 14 separate occasions. Worst raid took place on the night of the 10th and 11th of May, 1941, when the palace took at least 12 hits. 3 people, 2 policemen, and resident superintendent of the House of Lords, Edward Elliot, were killed. The Commons Chamber and the roof of Westminster Hall were both set alight, and as the firefighters couldn't save both, it was the hall that was saved and the chamber destroyed. The Lords Chamber and the clock tower were damaged in the same raid, and the Commons Chamber was finally rebuilt and completed in 1950. The Palace of Westminster has 3 main towers. The largest and tallest is the 323-foot Victoria Tower, which occupies the southwestern corner of the palace. On its completion in 1858, it was actually the tallest secular building in the world. At the base of the tower is the Sovereign's entrance, which is used by the monarch when entering the palace to open Parliament each year. And the 49-foot high archway is richly decorated with sculptures, including statues of St. George, Andrew, and Patrick, and of course Queen Victoria. And the main body of the tower houses the parliamentary archives in 5.5 miles of steel shelves spread over 12 floors. They include the master copies of all Acts of Parliament since and important manuscripts such as the original Bill of Rights and the death warrant of King Charles I. At the north end of the palace is the Elizabeth Tower, which is commonly known as Big Ben. At 315 feet, it is only slightly shorter than the Victoria Tower, but much slimmer. It was called the Clock Tower until 2012, when it was renamed to celebrate the Diamond Jubilee of Queen Elizabeth II. The clock tower was designed by Augustus Pugin and built after his death. The tower, it houses the Great Clock, which uses the original mechanism, which was built by Edward John Dent to design's amateur horologist Edmund Beckett Denison. And it's highly accurate by the 19th century standards, striking the hour to within a second of the time, and remains reliable since it entered service in 1859. The time is shown on 4 dials, each 23 feet in diameter, which are made of milk glass. And the hour hand is 8 feet 10 inches long, and the minute hand 14 feet long. 5 bells hang in the belfry above the clock. The 4 quarter bells strike Westminster chimes every quarter hour, and the largest bell strikes on the hour. Officially, that's called the Great Bell, or Big Ben, surprisingly, a nickname of uncertain origins. It was thought to possibly be the person who was the foreman who struck the bell in moulding of it in the first place. It's the 3rd heaviest bell in Britain, weighing 15.25 tons. And the lantern at the top of Elizabeth Tower is the Ayrton light, which is lit when either House of Parliament is sitting after dark. It was installed in 1885 at the request of Queen Victoria so that she could see from Buckingham Palace whether the members were at work or not. So I'd like to keep an eye on things. There's been a number of incidents at the Palace of Westminster. The famous gunpowder plot of 1605 was a conspiracy among a group of Roman Catholic gentry to re-establish Catholicism in England by assassinating the Protestant King James I, who was also James VI of Scotland, and replacing him with a Catholic monarch. They placed large quantities of gunpowder beneath the House of Lords, which one of the conspirators, famous Guy Fawkes, would detonate during the state opening of Parliament on the 5th of November 1605. If successful, the explosion would have destroyed the palace, killing the king and his family and the lords. However, the plot was discovered and most of the conspirators were either arrested or killed while trying to evade capture. And since then, the cellars of the palace have actually been searched by the yeomen of the guard before every state opening of Parliament, which is a traditional precaution against any similar attempts against the sovereign. The execution of Sir Walter Raleigh occurred at the Palace of Westminster on the 29th of October in 1618. The previous Palace of Westminster was the site of a prime ministerial assassination on the 11th of May, 1812. While on his way to a parliamentary inquiry, Spencer Perceval, the Prime Minister at the time, was shot and killed by a Liverpool merchant adventurer, John Bellingham Perceval. Perceval is the only British Prime Minister to actually have been assassinated. I think there are a few more people would like to have gone that way, but that's another day. The new palace became the target for Fenian bombs on the 24th of January 1885, along with the Tower of London. The first bomb, a black bag containing dynamite, was discovered by a visitor on the steps towards the chapel of St Mary's Undercroft. Police Constable William Cole attempted to carry it to the new palace yard, but the bag became so hot that Cole dropped it and it exploded. The blast opened a crater in the floor of 3 feet in diameter and damaged the roof of the chapel and shattered all the windows in the hall, including the stained glass south window at St Stephen's porch. Both Cole and P.C. Cox, a colleague who had joined him to offer assistance, were seriously injured, and how they escaped that I really don't know. A second explosion followed almost immediately in the Commons chamber, causing great damage, but no injuries, fortunately. On the 17th of June, 1974, a £20 bomb planted by the Provisional IRA exploded in Westminster Hall. The explosion and the resulting fire injured 11 people, caused extensive damage. 5 years later, a car bomb claimed the life of Airy Neave, a prominent Conservative politician, while he was driving out of the Commons car park in New Palace Yard. The attack occurred on the 30th of March, 1979. The palace has also been the scene of numerous acts of politically motivated direct action taking place in the chamber in the House of Commons. In July 1970, a man in the Strangers' Gallery threw 2 canisters of tear gas into the chamber to protest against the use of such gas in Northern Ireland. 1978, activist Jana Mintoff and another dissident threw bags of horse manure. Concern about such attacks led to the installation of a glass screen in the public gallery in 2004. The new barrier doesn't actually cover the visitors gallery in front of the public gallery, which is reserved for ambassadors and members of the House of Lords and other dignitaries. And in May 2004, protesters from Fathers for Justice attacked Prime Minister Tony Blair with 4 flower bombs, and from this part after obtaining admission by bidding for a place in the visitors gallery in a charity auction. So subsequently, individuals now wishing to sit in the galleries must first obtain a written pass from a member certifying that the individual is personally known to them. In September of the same year, there were 5 protesters opposed to the proposed ban on fox hunting, disrupted the proceedings in the House of Commons by running into the chamber, which was actually the first occurrence since King Charles I's unauthorised entry in 1642, which triggered the English Civil War. House of Lords has also been targeted by protesters on the 2nd of February 1988, the House debated the Local Governments Bill's controversial Clause 28, which is a measure to prohibit the promotion of homosexuality in schools. Following the division in which the clause passed, a number of lesbian demonstrators in the public gallery started chanting slogans, and 3 of them tied ropes to the railing and climbed down onto the floor of the chamber. Lord Monkswell, who had provided the woman with passes to attend the debate, later apologised to the House for the incident, but he wasn't actually criticised for the protest. Similar actions have been carried out outside the Palace of Westminster. Early in the morning of the 20th of March 2004, 2 Greenpeace members scaled the clock tower to demonstrate against the Iraq War, raising questions about security around such a likely target of terrorist attacks. March 2007, another four members of Greenpeace made their way to the palace roof by means of a nearby crane, which is being used for repairs to Westminster Bridge. Once up, they unfurled a 50-foot banner protesting against the British government's plans to update the Trident nuclear program. In February 2008, 5 campaigners from Plain Stupid Group, they really think them up, these ones, they gained admittance to the building as visitors, then moved up the roof to demonstrate against the proposed expansion of Heathrow Airport. Then on the 1st of April 2019, a group of environmental protesters from the group Extinction Rebellion stripped semi-naked in the public gallery during a Brexit debate and glued themselves to the handrail and the glass screen with their buttocks facing the Commons chamber. MPs, well, they attempted to continue the debate, some of them incorporating puns and references to the nakedness into their speeches, and much hilarity was held by all. There have been 4 fires in the Palace of Westminster site during 2019 and 8 in 2018. You'd think they'd have got the idea how to put fire precautions in place by that time. But in 2022, well, the body of the late Queen Elizabeth II was left inside the hall for people to pay their respects, and a man decided to jump the barriers and pull away the flag draped over the coffin. He was detained and taken away by police and officials, and quite rightly so too. So there we have this week's part of the Palace of Westminster. It's a story that seems to unravel all the time. There are all sorts of fables coming out, but they seem to have an awful lot of fire issues. But I'll continue just now, because on this day, which I've been doing the last few weeks, and on this day in 1577, Sir Francis Drake set sail on his circumnavigation of the globe in the Pelican, which was later renamed the Golden Hind. Then in 1734, Britain and Russia signed a trade agreement. Well, you don't see that happening today, that's for sure. 1961, the impresario Brian Epstein signed up the Beatles. And for birthdays today, well, firstly, we've got Mary Todd Lincoln, who was born 1818, died in 1882, and was the wife of Abraham Lincoln. She was the U.S. First Lady. She was born in Lexington, Kentucky. Then in 1995, Dick Van Dyke, phenomenal actor and character, was born in 1925. So he is 98 today. Happy birthday, Dick.
All right. Thank you, Simon. I think we might have been missing one photograph when you were talking about those people who glued themselves. I was like, where is that photograph? I don't see it here.
Yeah, I mean, this one looks awfully familiar to a television host who has got long blonde hair and.
Well, Diane recently colored her hair.
Save you embarrassment and maybe leave that one out.
Well, that was really interesting. Thank you. I love how we're learning something new each week. So thank you to both of you, Simon and Helena. Diane, what are your thoughts?
Thank you. That was incredible, Simon. I learned so much, and there's so much going on in Scotland in real life, but I'm so glad you're sharing with us all this history, because history is what makes us who we are today. So thank you, Simon.
Right. I'm actually starting to do some research into Edinburgh Castle when I moved north of the border for it, because there's a bit of a connection there. I mentioned a few shows earlier. my son Paul had been commissioned to make the new state sword of Scotland, which is now part of the Scottish Crown Jewels. So I'm going to be under scrutiny to make sure I get this absolutely 110% correct. Otherwise, I will be scored off my son's own Christmas card list this year.
Well, you must be one proud papa.
Yes, indeed. Yes. And I've got to call him sir now because, at sword's length, well, he knows how to use these things. He makes them. He certainly knows how to use them. So I've got to be very careful what I say to this boy.
Yeah, I remember the sword that we had here with some photographs. How long ago was that, Simon?
The state opening part, not state opening, the coronation.
Yeah.
And it was about a week or so after the coronation that he came to Edinburgh to be handed the Scottish Crown Jewels. And when I say handed, he got to touch them. That was it, and then they took them away again and put them back into Edinburgh Castle.
Here, these are yours. Oh wait, not really.
Yeah. You can look, but you can't have them.
Exactly.
But the sword he made, it's the second state sword of Scotland. Its predecessor was getting too fragile to use in ceremony. So that was it. It obviously not as well made as it maybe should be. But having said that, I mean, it lasted over 500 years. So so that's not bad. It's never been used in anger, as far as anyone's aware. But Paul made this magnificent sword, for the Crown Jewels, and so his heritage will stay on for another 500 years.
Long time, long after we're gone.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow. Well, thank you both for another fabulous show. Hopefully Diane's going to come back. What would you like to share? Anything that's going on for the holidays or anything that you want people to know about? Let's start with Helena.
I was actually just looking up King Charles's coronation because I couldn't remember the exact date, but it was the 6th of May 2023. So just for anyone that was just wondering, that's fine. I think for me, it's something that we've hit on, Dr. Jacalyn. We were talking about. Actually, no, let me run into it. So we have a wonderful lady called Esther Ranson here in the UK. I think she's now 83. She unfortunately has lung cancer, which I'm very sad about. But anyway, she's a fabulous person. She's a broadcaster. She has worked with people, for people, always helping people. We used to work a lot with children, but now, roughly 10 years ago, she opened the Silver Line. And this is a helpline. She's the founder and president of this helpline. And it's really for older people, but I guess vulnerable people as well. And it's to do with loneliness. And she has pleaded with people now, obviously we're almost in at Christmas time, to really remember people who are older, who are more vulnerable. And really, loneliness is a taboo. I've never really looked at it like that, but it really is. People don't want to talk about loneliness, and it definitely is a taboo. So to reach out to people who maybe are in need of some little bit of love, it's something that she's experienced, and I would hate anybody feeling like this. So I thought I'd just mention it, and it's the Silver Line. So
thank you very much, Helena. Diane's back with us. Hello.
We must be having strange weather here or something.
Diane, what would you like to share about anything you have going on for the holidays or with your books or anything else that you want our audience to know about?
Sure. I'm just all about everyone taking the beautiful light that you have inside you and sharing your light with others, because when you share your light with others, it makes them feel so good, and then they share their light. And as I said last week, it's a ripple effect. And the more we can do that, the better. I also was touched by what Helena said in regards to going to the elderly or reaching out to other people who are alone and to help them. And one of the things I do is we go to elderly homes, and we I find out who needs things that don't get visited, and we bring a little special something to them. And then I'll go to like a mobile park, and especially we've done it ever since our kids were little, and we find out who's not going to have Christmas, and we give them Christmas.
That's beautiful, Diane. Thank you very much. And Simon, we're reminded that we are out of time as the clock is telling us it's time to go.
Big Dan in the background there.
Definitely. Anything you want to share, Simon, before we go to our sponsor?
I think, you know, you've got to sort of look at, you know, what we've gone through today as well, and talking about the royal family and, you know, the lack of promotion once you get the top job. But I don't know. I still feel the sky is not the limit when there are footprints on the moon.
Love it.
Absolutely. I agree. And for me, I just say it's been an incredible year. I know we still have a couple of weeks left to go, but I'm super grateful because I never could have imagined that we'd be on this journey that we're on. And I've been working behind the scenes on another business. I'm going to be launching my own publishing company, and we're going to be doing press releases, which I've already done for a number of people. So I'm doing that behind the scenes, but it's really just about gratitude to each of you here and to everybody who's watching. Thank you for all the support and all the love. It really means a lot.
Congratulations.
Yes. Oh, great adventure you're embarking on there. I mean, publishing was a thing. It was Diane's fault that I got my book published. Blame her. And encouragement from all corners. It's you know, totally uncharted waters for me when I you know, got the book launched and so on. And great thanks to Norton's Triad Publications who you know, put it on the road, but huge thanks to Diane for pointing me in their direction. So,
and I can't wait till you get the next one out.
Well, that's it. Another Ryman Time is in the making.
I know. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's like an addiction. And hopefully there's a room for one more publisher out there. We'll see. I spend a ton of time researching, and, you know, I don't do anything halfway. So when it's ready, it'll be ready. But for now, we have to say goodbye. Our other program is already running, so I'm not sure what's going to happen. I guess we'll have two going at the same time. So Global Social Entrepreneurs is on right now with Ann Scotland, and that'll be followed by the Royally Rich Lifestyle Show, starring Helena Chard, Ian Pelham-Turner, and special guest Diann Floyd BOEHM, and sponsored by the British School of Excellence. Thank you. And our show today is sponsored by Diann Floyd BOEHM. So thank you so much, Diann. Really appreciate it. Let's take a look at your sponsorship, and we will be back again soon. Stay tuned for the sponsorship.
Hello, I'm children's author Diann Floyd BOEHM, and I am co-host for several of the USA Global TV and radio shows. I joined because of the purpose of the USA Global TV and radio. They provide content for the viewers and listeners, an opportunity for people around the world to have their own show or even be a guest on an existing show. We truly believe in helping others get their positive message out to the world. We also have the opportunity for the listeners. You can watch on several platforms, and on YouTube, you can ask questions and even give a comment. We absolutely love it. I love being part of the USA Global TV and radio because I love positive messages, and who doesn't? And we need more of that in the world. We are a family, and we hope you will join us and become part of the family too.